The length of time flowers remain beautiful and usable, referred to as their vase life, is what determines whether the retailer or consumer will come back for more. There are several reasons why flowers will wilt and die prematurely. They include the inability of the stems to absorb water, a lack of carbohydrates or food, bacteria growth and disease, ethylene gas, and improper surrounding conditions. Using the proper care and handling procedures will help cut flowers and foliage to last longer. We cannot buy flowers at the wholesale market and merely drop them into water. There are specific procedures to follow to ensure the longest vase life for these amazing beauties. The Society of American Florists developed a post-harvest care program, which they call the Chain of Life. This chain includes all the steps of distribution of cut flowers, from the grower to the transporter, the wholesaler, the retailer, and finally the consumer. The theory behind this chain is, if all the segments in the line of distribution of cut flowers follow the care procedures outlined in the Chain of Life, our cut flowers will have the greatest chance to last the longest time possible. The goal of this program is to strengthen each link by observing the sanitation procedures, water quality, the use of preservatives, temperature and humidity, as well as other factors. The initial treatment of fresh flowers is referred to as processing. The processing procedures, whether performed at the wholesale or retail level or in your home, are vital for ensuring the lasting quality of flowers. The basic steps to the proper care and handling of flowers are, number one, we're going to open our boxes or unwrap our flowers as soon as possible upon delivery. Loosen those bunches to allow for better air circulation. Always use a clean storage container that's been scrubbed with bleach or cleaned with a commercial cleaning solution that's available at your local floral wholesaler. Everything the flowers come in contact with should be kept clean. It needs to be disinfected. Your tables, the buckets, your knife, your shears, and including your floral refrigerator. Now, some experts tell us to use warm water, 100 to 110 degrees. The belief is that the warm water contains less air than the cold water, and that the water will actually travel up the stem better. Others see absolutely no difference in the use of cold or hot water, as long as the water is of good quality. We also need to use the proper amount of a commercial floral preservative. Be sure that you measure the water and the preservative so that you are using the correct amounts of both. You want that ratio to be correct. If you use the incorrect ratio of preservative to water, the preservative can actually be toxic to your flowers, or it can do absolutely no good whatsoever and you're just throwing money away. We want to make sure that we remove any foliage that will be below the water line in our container. This foliage could actually deteriorate under the water and is actually going to cause bacteria and cause our flowers to die prematurely. So make sure we remove all foliage. Cut 1 to 2 inches off of the end of our stem with a sharp knife. Again, here's another floral controversy. Some experts believe that the flower stem should actually be cut underwater. Cutting underwater prevents the intake of air into the stem. Others believe that merely making a fresh cut on the stem end is enough to remove any of the sealed areas or the bacteria, which is actually could be clogging the stem ends and preventing that water to flow up the stem to the head of the flower. Always use a sharp knife to make this fresh cut of the stem end. Never use scissors. Scissors can pinch the water-carrying vessels so that the flower head will not receive all the water it needs. We need to think of this flower stem as if it was a group of straws. You grab a group of straws, just imagine that's your flower stem, and that each of those straws is important in the flow of water to the head of the flower. So if we use a sharp knife, we can ensure that the flower will drink as much water as possible. Immediately after cutting those stem ends, we're going to place those flowers into our container, the clean container that contains the floral preservative, being careful not to crowd the bucket by placing too many stems or bunches into it. Allow the flowers to set or drink, if you will, at room temperature for approximately 1 hour before placing them in the cooler. We do need a floral cooler. We need to store our flowers in a floral cooler at a temperature of 34 to 38 degrees and an 80 to 90% humidity factor. Don't store exotic flowers such as anthurium, bird of paradise, or heliconia in such cool storage conditions. By processing your flowers using these basic steps, you will help your flowers and ensure that they will last longer. So we have some flowers in particular roses, that will benefit from the use of a hydrating solution. A hydrating solution, like this one here, is used before we place those flowers into our preservative solution. So the way this works, you would take the hydrating solution, 2 inches of it in a container. We would make that initial cut of the flower stem, plunge it into the preservative solution for 1 second, and then go into our bucket of clean preservative water. So be sure to follow these basic steps of care and handling of fresh cut flowers to ensure a longer vase life for all your flowers.